Welcome to Meeting of the Moms, a place to talk about all the things. I'm Amy Rasmussen. I'm a teacher by profession, a wife and mother by choice, an optimist by nature, and happy by design. I'm here with my good friend Lorna, who I call one of my greatest cheerleaders.
Hi, I'm Lorna Adams. I'm a wife, mom, and certified life coach. I strive to embrace and enjoy each new phase of life. Here at Moms, we believe the world is wide open to all of us and that we have unlimited potential. We're so glad you're here.
Hey Lorna, how's it going today?
Hi, good Amy, how are you?
Good. I'm actually doing fantastic.
Yay!
I know.
Tell me why.
Sure. We can just go right into that. A couple of things. One, a friend of mine passed away in the last little week here. That's not why I'm doing fantastic. But she's a friend who moved away. She's an older friend, older than me by several decades. And I wanted to go visit her where she moved away, and I never did. And I was trying to decide what to do about that. And I decided, you know what? I am going to take some time this week to celebrate the things that I got to experience with her, the things I admire about her, the way she inspired me. And her funeral's today, or it was today. It's probably over now. I went to the viewing last night, but it didn't work for me to go to the funeral. And so I helped bring some food to the funeral because I wanted to do that to help the family. But my celebrating is that I've just been able to celebrate her and really think about some things I loved about her. I pulled up some pictures. I've chosen to do the celebrations and tributes on Facebook, and I've loved to hear what other people had to say because they reminded me of some things or told me things I didn't know. And then I'm glad that I got to participate by bringing some food to support her daughter and son-in-law. Those are the ones I know. I don't know the rest of her family. That is one of my celebrations. So I will just share that one.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super fun. We have a funeral. I'll be going to a funeral on Saturday. My dad's brother passed away. My dad has passed away. It's probably been around 10, 11, I think 11 years. And his twin brother passed away. And so his funeral Saturday. And I am, how do you say looking forward to a funeral without making it sound like you're looking forward to a funeral, right? Like,
but since he has passed away, you are now looking forward to going to the funeral. Okay.
Yes, because family will be there. And
Yes.
right. And then just fun to celebrate somebody. So anyway, I don't know if looking forward is quite the right term or phrase, but it is like, it'll be nice to get together with people. But yeah, interesting that we both have funerals that we are right here with.
Right. Who knew? Who knew that was coming our way?
Right.
I know.
My celebration is totally different than that now. My celebration is that I have learned how to get ready quickly if and when I need to. And I had to use it today.
Okay.
I do quick makeup on days where I just have a shorter amount of time. And I just love that I have found quick and easy things to do yes, I like wearing regular makeup normally, but some days like today, I was limited on time and eyebrows and mascara. And here I am. So celebrating, there's a quick way to get ready and I can still feel great. And then my normal get ready routine also, which doesn't take very long, but longer than 2 minutes.
Right. Well, so much I love about that. It probably took some work to experiment with some things to be like, okay, what level of doing this do I still just feel good so I can go and show up and everything's fine, right? So it took some experimenting, it took some curiosity, it took some noticing. Sometimes I want to get ready faster. And it has been my experience with wearing makeup that there is an adjustment period to getting used to how you look with different amounts of makeup on. And so lots of awesome things. Good job. That is exciting.
Thanks.
Very, very good.
And lipstick. I always had lipstick because I like to wear lipstick.
Yes. But just whatever it is though, right? Just those things that can be like, I can get out the door and feel great.
Yes.
And here totally. We are. Yeah. Love it. Our topic today is we have Mother's Day coming up. So we're kind of endish of April. So I thought we could chat about Mother's Day. So I thought I could start by telling you what I have on the radar for Mother's Day this year. I was on a walk with my husband the other day, and he mentioned to me that he would like to do some adventures with some of our kids this summer, and specifically our child who is graduating next year, because time is limited. And so you're like, okay, wait, like, what do I want to do before they head out? And so he'd asked my son what times he had available when he didn't have other commitments. And one of those weekends is Mother's Day weekend that they could maybe go. And with the thing that they would do, it takes enough days that they would be gone on Mother's Day. And so that's kind of on the radar and on the brain, and I'm figuring out how do I want to address that. And nothing's planned yet. It was just kind of like I'm exploring this, and initially I did not have this response, but I worked through some thoughts and feelings, and so now I'm at the response of I really appreciate that he is bringing it up now so that we can explore it. So I can explore, okay, am I just going to do something different for Mother's Day? Or am I going to say I'd really still like a day where I can have you all here with me and we can be doing that? But that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know yet what it's going to look like, but I do know that there's some conversations leading up to it that might be helpful.
Yeah.
So, where are you at? Or do
Well,
you have
I'm gonna just share more. What I think it was last Mother's Day that as it was approaching, my husband realized there was a conference that he was already signed up to go to. So my husband and my son were actually going to be gone over Mother's Day. And my initial thought was like, are you serious? You're leaving me for Mother's Day?
right?
And I had to do some work to work through it. And then it became it became fine because I had some time to process it and figure it out. It became fine. And one of the things I did while they were gone is my girls and I hung out. One of my girls was on a mission in Brazil, but two of them were home for that weekend. And I made a lemon layered cake that I wanted to try. I'd never made it. I wanted to for years. So I'm like, I'm going to just make that lemon cake for Mother's Day weekend and I'm going to invite some friends over. And so that is totally what I did is like capitalizing on, okay, guys are gone.
Yep.
Girls are here. What do we want to do? And so that is how I had done that Mother's Day that year, last year. So it worked out great. We had a couple of friends come over and just spent some time together. And I know in the past too, we have typically tried to do like a girls' day. My girls and I know we've done a movie and pedicures before. So it's fun to like be mindful and plan ahead for Mother's Day.
Right.
So then we're fine with whatever it is, but we have a little bit of a heads up or we're a little more prepared. So anyway, love it. Love that it's on our radar.
Yep.
Well, on this particular Mother's Day, we are still talking through some things. I had one daughter come to me and say, can we celebrate Mother's Day the Sunday before? Because I won't be home very much on Mother's Day if I go on this trip with these friends. A friend of hers is getting married and they're trying to do a little bachelorette party and the friend lives far away. And so they're trying to navigate this particular weekend.
Yep.
And I said, well, we can plan stuff on this Sunday before, but I know I'm going to still want to do some Mother's Day type stuff on actual Mother's Day because I'm around and some of the families around. So
I'm around and still a mom.
Yeah, right. So I still want to do stuff on actual Mother's Day. So anyway, we're still trying to sort that out. And I did mention to my husband, I would like to maybe on the Saturday, maybe go to a movie. We live away from movie theaters, so we have to travel. So it's like lunch and a movie. And I do enjoy pedicures. So we might do like that kind of tends to be a thing that we do, whether for birthdays or for Mother's Day or whatever, just because I enjoy those things. So that's kind of where I am for this year.
I have to ask you a side quest question just really quick. Does your husband get pedicures with you?
No.
Oh, okay. Having this little picture. I mean, some men do get pedicures.
Yes.
It's a nice massage and all the things. But I just was picturing the two of you having a little pedicure.
No, it's more of a girl's experience. My daughters and I will do it. Sometimes my sisters and I have done it. My mom and my sisters and I have done it. So anyway, it's been more of a girl thing.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought until you're like, yes, we might go to a movie and lunch and I like pedicures. I'm like, oh, cool. That's awesome.
And I feel like my husband did say something that they might want that he and my son could do if we were to go out of town. And I can't remember what he said now, just when I was mentioning Mother's Day weekend on the Saturday, what we could do. And so in my own mind, I just kind of thought, oh, he could do that and we could do pedicures. And I can't remember what that would have been. So yes, we work things out. Maybe they could go roam the aisles of Costco and buy groceries for us while we're being pampered. I don't know.
Or maybe go get some good meat. Who knows?
Right.
Yes. Okay. That's awesome. Sorry. That was a little bit of a side quest. One of the things I was thinking as you were sharing about your year that was kind of similar to mine. So your last year, is it is amazing what happens when we look at something as an opportunity. Oh, okay. This is on the radar. What opportunity does this now afford? So one of the things I thought about is if we decide that that's a great thing for them to go and do and to have this adventure, then maybe with whatever sons don't go, then I would do something with them because it might be more of a one-on-one thing. And so that could work. Or if he's just taking our two younger sons, then maybe my oldest son and I, it'll be a time for the two of us. Or let's say they all go. If they all go, then maybe I'll go visit my own mom. She's getting older, and that could be a really fun thing. So just lots of different options
Yeah.
if we look at it as an opportunity. It's also thinking that sometimes what it's easy to do is to be like, well, I just have to stop having this be important to me. I'm going to stop looking forward to this thing
Mm.
because it's too hard or I get my feelings hurt. So that's got to be the solution, that I need to stop making this a big deal. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that solution for some
Yes.
people, right?
Yes.
I don't love that
I
solution.
don't
That is
either.
not one that I want to embrace by
Right.
any means.
Right.
And I've had some rough Mother's Day. We have talked about them in our family. Like there have been some rough ones, but I still have not wanted to lean into like, okay, I guess I won't expect anything. I guess I
Right.
won't ask for anything or plan anything or
Right.
whatever
Or
because
care. I'm
it
just
does
going to
never turn
stop
out.
caring. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I think that depending on what it is, sometimes the work we do with ourselves and how we feel about it, that is the place to go. Like, you know what? I don't have to care about this thing so much. That's like in some situations. In this one, that's not where I am either. And
yeah.
so I do think that we can care about something and anticipate it and be excited without the negative part of expectation coming in that then leaves us like totally devastated. So it's okay that maybe I'm disappointed, but I also like loosening up the idea with Mother's Day, with birthdays, some of these things that it's like, it has to be on that date. If it's not on that date, it doesn't count. It's no good, whatever. That seems like a little crazy. The dates are there to help us remember to mark something, to
Yeah.
remember to honor the person whose birthday it is. And yes, it's great to have the actual day, but I think we can also choose to use the day as a little reminder to do some of those things because I also have, because of where I live, I'm an hour and a half away from my mom. I'm an hour half and a half away from my mother-in-law. And so we could take the whole day just trying to travel to see those moms. We don't have grandmas alive anymore, but if that were the case, then that could actually feel like really stressful and not be what I wanted either. So
Yeah.
I think that we can use it as an opportunity, as a way to
Yeah.
spark the celebration.
And I was going to say, I do appreciate celebrating on the day. That is my preference.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But I do feel like even last year with Mother's Day, I think it was the Sunday before that my son and my husband were like, well, let's do something special for you that day so we can still be celebrating. And typically I I love to play games. So if it's a celebration that I'm involved in that they're trying to do what I want to do, it's going to be let's play games as a
Yep.
family.
Yep.
So I don't remember the exact details from last year, but it does seem familiar that the Sunday before, my husband and my son, and then my daughter, who was going to be around anyway, she was living with us at the time. She was also in on it, and we did some things on that Sunday to celebrate Mother's Day with them. And so I agree. You absolutely can just use it as a marker to remind us, yes, let's
Yep.
do something, but it doesn't have to be the day. I do appreciate when it lands on the day, but then being open to when it doesn't.
Yeah. And I think by being open to some other options, it allows several things. When my kids were younger, we didn't have to do the friend birthday party on the actual birthday. We could do our own family stuff and then have a friend birthday party. Or we could do the friend birthday party on Friday when we had more time. It
Yeah.
actually could make it better. I'm generally a big fan for some of those things to happen before the fact, if it's not going to be on the day. I remember my dad saying once, trying to celebrate Christmas after Christmas Day feels weird. Anytime before Christmas in December feels like you're part of the season, but after feels odd. I will say that there was a year when a family member was getting married, and the only day we could find for a bridal shower for this person was on my birthday. And I told my family, I said, okay, you guys, it is important to me to go and support, for many reasons, this particular bridal shower on my birthday. And usually I would just be like, nope, can't do it that day. But this was different for me. This was a different situation. And so I said, we are rescheduling my birthday this year. I think I rescheduled it for April 21st. I think that was my rescheduled birthday, but my birthday is usually in March. And I said, I want to reschedule this day. We are celebrating that day, and we are going to go to this play, and we are going to do these things. And I was really intentional about it. So I think especially if you're someone who it's really important to do the day, but you're also trying to step into, I see why it doesn't work this year. Sometimes being really intentional and really naming a day and the activities can also help that day now have meaning.
Yes, totally. I agree. Well, and we do that with, it's interesting that your example about with your dad was about Christmas, because I have felt that way too. I would rather
Yeah.
celebrate before with most
Yep.
things than
Yep.
after, because it just feels like
Yep.
anticlimactic. The day comes and goes, nothing, and then
Yep.
hopefully you're going to do something later, right?
Right.
But we, as my extended family, my siblings, my mom and dad and siblings and our
Mhm.
families, we have decided to typically celebrate Christmas after Christmas. We typically get together on December 26th or 27th for, and I love that because then for me, it actually extends the holiday to where I feel like Christmas lasts, like the best part of Christmas lasts longer
Yes.
rather than the crazy harried part of
Yep.
Christmas. We get actual Christmas and then we get to just enjoy the next few days.
Yep.
And we usually do like a gift exchange or something that is still around Christmas as we're spending those few days together in a common area, in a common cabin where we can
Yeah.
all fit. So
Yeah.
anyway, yes, anyway, I love all of the things that you're saying.
I love how you, again, it's how you framed that as well. Rather than, yeah, we just do it after, whatever. You're like, we extend it. And so I think how we think about it, like we're going to extend this, we're going to expand this, we're going to whatever feels different. And
Yeah.
that's really cool. I like
Yeah,
it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and with planning, I think the part that I like that we're about being intentional, that's what we have control over. I think sometimes as a mom, when my kids were younger, I had these ideas of I'll feel like a great mom on Mother's Day. My kids will be so nice. They'll get along. They'll want to do nice things for me. And it ended up being a little more like self-centered, where I was expecting other people to do it. And I have shifted to where my mindset is I get to appreciate that I'm a mom. I am so grateful I'm a mom. And then what do I have control over throughout? I can invite my family to play games with me or plan ahead and ask them, hey, would you be willing on that Sunday afternoon? Or
Yep.
I think it would be fun if we made this meal together. Or this sounds really good for a Mother's Day meal. Would hubby, would you be willing to make it? Or kids, would you be willing or whatever? And so trying to lay some groundwork of what I have control over and not have these high expectations and then these awful Mother's Days because it didn't work out like I thought it should.
Right. Right. And sometimes with those expectations, they're never communicated.
Right.
Or the way we communicate them ends up being in a demanding fashion, right? And so I love some of the things you said about sharing the ideas with your family, where it's just like, hey, I would love this on Mother's Day. Is that something you're up for making? Because that, if you are, that'd be great. But that also allows the person to give freely. There is actually scripture in the Bible about God loves a cheerful giver or something like that. And one time on my app, it came up in more modern language and it said, let everyone give what he has decided in his heart to give. Because God loves a cheerful giver. And I thought that totally changes the nature of giving. I can be a cheerful giver when I give what I want to give. So going back to our celebrations and the funeral, I was at church on Sunday. I was doing things in the hall and with kids and whatever. And someone came up to me and said, hey, would you like to make any food for this funeral for so-and-so? And I was like, wait, what? What happened with so-and-so? Because she had moved away, right? So she wasn't living here anymore. So I would not have even known that this person that is important to me had passed away. But I was so glad that she asked, hey, would you like to do something? I said, absolutely. Let me see the list. And then I was able to choose something that worked for me and for my schedule and everything else. And so then when I brought it up there today, I was giving cheerfully. I felt so happy to have found out about it and been able to contribute in a way that was meaningful to me. So yeah, same kind of thing, that cheerful giver.
Well, and I appreciate that and I did with our kids too. Sometimes we'll talk about birthdays coming up or holidays. So it's not uncommon for us to, like for me to, in our family culture, it's not uncommon for me to say, hey, for Mother's Day, I think it would be really fun if we all got together and did this.
Yes.
Because that's how we've done things with our birthdays. I'll ask
Yeah.
a child or my husband, hey, what do you want to do for your birthday? Or my child, So
Yep.
we've fostered that culture. And so that isn't unusual.
Yep.
But then with that, sometimes it's like, would you want to make something for your sibling? Would you want to make or
Yep.
buy something for dad? Or do you know what I mean? So there's some of that going on. And so I love that idea of really just tapping into what are the kids wanting or husband wanting to give or do.
Right.
That could be something they give cheerfully or do
Right.
cheerfully, right?
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. I also love this. Like as moms, I think sometimes we forget that in training our kids and teaching our kids that we have a role to play in teaching them how to interact with us as well. Now, both spouses can have this, both parents, but we don't have control over what our husbands do, just us. So, in the context of what we have control over, we can either only teach them about thinking about siblings' birthdays and dad's birthdays and everyone's birthday but ours, or Father's Day or whatever, or we can make it part of the whole package. Hey, Mother's Day is coming up. So this time I'm going to tell you about some things I would like. Oh, and then it's Father's Day, so let's talk about dad. Oh, and then it's so-and-so's birthday. Oh, and hey, my birthday's coming up. Here are some things. And I think by modeling that, it models lots of good things. Number one, we're not sitting around thinking someday our kids will just get it and remember, oh, you're a person, mom. Two, we're both showing them both how to give and how to receive, so that then when we do ask them, they feel like they can speak up and say what they want. We're prepping them for future relationships. When someone might say, I'd like to give you a gift, what would you like? They're going to feel comfortable speaking up and saying, this is important to me. So I think that's awesome that you created the family culture, and part of the family culture was that you as the mom also counted. Because I think sometimes what we do as moms, what I've seen women do, is they don't count themselves, and then they wonder why no one else does. So I think that's really important.
Yes. Yeah. So good. Another part of that is also keeping what I have control over in my control, and not trying to control everyone else.
Yep.
Because I think there have been some years around Mother's Day and other things, I'm sure, that I'm trying to make them want to play games, or want to write me a nice note, or want to write their sibling a nice note or something. Right. And that doesn't feel good either. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. They're mad at me or whatever. Yep. And so I love keeping what's mine as mine. I can invite, I can offer, but then if they decide no, they don't want to or whatever, then I let them be them. Right. Okay, that's just fine. You don't have to, or whatever. Yep. And then for me, sometimes it's then what do I want to do about that? If it's Mother's Day and we've planned on playing games and they've all felt fine, and then we're ready to sit down and somebody doesn't want to play, how do I want to handle that? Do I want to try and dive into the whole guilt trip? You told me you would. This is my day. Why don't you help me out? Right. That doesn't feel good. Actually, what I want to do is be like, okay, if you don't want to, that's fine. And yeah, I might be a little bit sad, but it's going to be way better than me trying to coerce and manipulate them into doing something they don't want to do. So
it's going to be more fun not having them force
without them if they don't want to be doing it. Absolutely. Yeah. So like I love to be very conscious about things like that too, is I can invite, and then they have agency to decide what they want to do about it. And then if nobody wants to play games with me, what do I want to do with that information? Right. Maybe that's when I go make a phone call and I call a friend I really appreciate, or my mom, or whatever. But I have some other ideas maybe in mind of what I could do to make it still feel special.
Yep. And some of those things we don't know about until we're in the moment. Oh, I'm now feeling really hurt, and they said they play the games and they're not. And so then we're like, oh, yay, a Mother's Day gift, a little more growing to do today. And I'm going to go sit down and use hopefully some of the tools I have. Sometimes we can really quickly say, okay, I'm just going to go call a friend. But other times, that's an opportunity for us to be like, okay, I'll go sit down and be with myself for a minute, write down some things, cry maybe, like feel sad, because it's also okay that at those times we sometimes feel hurt. It's not about having no feelings, as you know, which I know that you also think. But yeah, I just want to be clear that as the two of us talk, it's not like it's fine. We just do this thing and it's no big deal. There's also the times of sitting and feeling like, okay, I do feel hurt, and now I'm going to process this, figure it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let yourself be okay being hurt. And I guess too, this is like with some of these ideas that we are rattling off, I think some of it is so that we do have something in our back pocket if things don't go the way we wish they would on a birthday or Mother's Day or whatever, or Christmas. There are some other ideas like, okay, what else could I do to help me appreciate being a mom? Maybe I want to write my own kids a note. Even like they're kind of being stinkers right now. And maybe that wouldn't feel good. Maybe that'd be hard for me to shift into like, but I really do appreciate them. Right. But I could, if it felt good, I could write them notes. Or maybe I want to write notes or texts or emails to some other people that have been motherly influences to me and write those that day.
And we've even done that sometimes. Like sometimes it's friends,
texting.
Like we texted and other friends or sisters-in-law. Like reach out to others and be like, okay, how can I spread some love and appreciation for motherhood in general.
Yeah. Well, and I have thought about writing like a paper, like a card, and putting it in the mail. I think that would be fun. That's one I haven't done yet, but around that type of holiday, I think it would be fun to be doing an actual hard copy. I'm writing in my own handwriting, and
Yep.
thanking you for whatever, whether it's to my mom or to other people around
Yes.
me.
Yep.
Texting is super easy and you can get a quick response, which I love. I love
Right.
that part too. But then
Yep.
there's something about receiving something in the mail that could
Yep.
be fun.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I love it. Speaking of Mother's Days that might not go as planned. Last year, I don't even remember if I told you this, but I think I did. So Mother's Day is always on Sunday, and we go to church on Sundays. And so after church, we got home and I can't remember what plans we had, but we kind of were like, okay, we're gonna do, something. I don't even remember at this point. And then my husband said, so and so just texted me or called me, and they had like a sewer line break. Their basement is flooded, and he's wondering if there's any way I can come over, the boys and I can come over and help them get the stuff out of their basement so it's not all ruined. So, number one, it is absolutely within my value set to want to help people in situations like that, right? Number two, this is a great friend. I really appreciate what he's contributed to Nelson's life and our lives. So I don't remember all the thoughts and feelings I had. I think for the most part, I was pretty neutral in the moment. And I'm like, okay, this is absolutely one of those we can't plan for it kinds of things. And do I want him to go help? Yes. Any other day, I would absolutely say yes. And can we, if it's really important to me, could we celebrate at a different time on a different day or whatever it is? So he went over and he's like, you know what? I'm going to change my clothes into some grubbies and I'm just going to go help too. And my husband said, I'm not expecting you to come help. I'm like, I know, but it's really good for you to go and it's good for the two boys to go. And then what do I get to do? Sit here by myself? Like, that doesn't sound awesome, which of course I could have found something to do, but I just decided to go over with them. So we all spent a good chunk of time walking in sewer water on their poor carpet and just hauling stuff out. Now, of course, he's dealing with his own situation. His daughter and her husband are there, his wife. So I don't know where he sent them, but they weren't there when we were there. Also great. I don't know that in my own house on Mother's Day, I would have been like, I'm going to dive in. I may have just needed a minute, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So I thought it was great that they weren't there and his sons were helping and that kind of stuff. In hindsight, like as I tell you about it now, I am so glad that that is how I showed up in that situation. And I think we ended up still coming home and having whatever dinner they made me. We may have played some games. I think we still did some things together. But I think the more we practice it, we can take a minute and it doesn't have to take as long always once we are good at practicing it and just taking the situation for what it is and then making some decisions in line with our values.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. Well, and I think it's awesome that you were able to be at that spot exactly
Me
like you
too.
just
I
said.
was thrilled.
Sometimes it can be like, no, like, are you serious? I just want us to all be together.
Yep.
And that's valid too,
It
right?
is. Yep.
But then awesome that it's like, all right, let's go. And I'm in on it with you guys. Let's go do
Yep.
this. Anyway, that's
Yep.
cool.
And I think for me, even those times when maybe it's been harder to be in that place, like I said, that year I was kind of in this neutral space and like, okay, what do I want to do with this? But on other years where I would have been more like, I really need this day we planned. I really need it. Being able, even on those days, to look at it and say, okay, can we do this thing and help these people? And can we do the thing I need in a different context? Or sometimes to be able to speak up and say, as much as I want to be able to say, yes to this, like I need us to not do that. Here is my need. I need my family home today and whatever else. So all of those things are options.
Yeah. I think as a young mom, especially for me to say no to something felt selfish. And now I'm understanding a little bit more about what goes into my mental health and what I need to be doing so that I can be at a good place most of the time. And we're still going to be on this, like, it's just life, right? We're going to have hard things and good things and whatever.
Yep.
But I think I felt like I had to always say yes. But in reality, helping my mental health doesn't mean I have to always say yes.
Yep.
And so being mindful and noticing those things like, ooh, how am I feeling? When I say yes to this, am I actually resistant or resentful?
Right.
Or am I actually like, yeah, this does feel like the right thing to do at this point right now for me, where I am, what's going on with our family or not, So I am grateful to have learned some of that over the years of experience to be mindful that yes isn't always the right answer.
Right. Right. And because you and I are how we are, sometimes I am more prone to saying no. And so on the other hand, I have to learn that saying no is not always the right answer. Saying like, no, we plan this, like, come on, like this time where I
Yeah.
felt good about like, let's go help these people. And even now, looking back, I'm so happy that we said yes. So I love that. The other thing too is most of the time, I would say you have to go through some of these things a little bit to get a handle on what it is. Because another time I could have said yes, let's go help, and then felt resentful. And it's like, why am I feeling resentful? I am the kind of person who likes to help people, and so then
Yeah.
I'd have to kind of pick it apart and figure out, because I didn't also step up and say, this is also important to me. Or, yeah, that was a day I really needed something. So, giving space for ourselves to learn those things, I think, is important too. And
I
help.
totally agree. And I think sometimes we just discount it so much to like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
We're like, wait a minute, let's figure out why do I feel that way now?
Yep.
And what can I learn from how I handled it? And what can I take from that for next time? If something similar to some extent is
Right.
coming up, how do I
Yeah.
want to handle that next time? And it doesn't have to mean we always do it the exact same way or very opposite of what we
Right.
did. This time I
Right.
said yes, so next time I'm for sure
Exactly.
saying no.
Yeah.
But maybe it's like, let's kind of fill this out a little bit more and see
Yep.
what other options there are.
And just figure that out. Um, Another thought, and we've kind of touched on this, but another thought with Mother's Day that over the years I've thought about, haven't really come to a conclusion yet. But once I stepped into being a mother, I stepped into owning a little bit, to owning Mother's Day a little bit. Not in a selfish way, but I'm just saying like, oh, this is a day to celebrate this part of my life. But then the question comes to mind for me, how do I want to celebrate the mothers in my life or the mother figures in my life? And I still don't have a great answer for that because, like I said, that involves travel. So I played with like, okay, well, what if one year we go for Mother's Day to my parents, and on that year we go to Father's Day at my husband's parents? And then what if we flip it the other time? And then I thought, okay, but then what about having a day just here with us where it's, okay, let's celebrate my husband as the dad and
Yeah.
me as the mom. And our son, we have one son whose birthday often falls either on Father's Day or the day before Father's Day. So then, that's been something too, where it's like, but we want to celebrate that too. And you have a daughter whose birthday, that's funny. And you have a daughter whose birthday falls right around Mother's Day, right?
Yeah.
And actually my mother-in-law's birthday is right before Mother's Day. And so I think with all of this, giving ourselves time to process it and try some things, see what we like, see what we don't like, I can still show appreciation to my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and my mom and my dad if we choose not to travel ever on those days.
Absolutely.
And so it's like we're close enough, but far enough that it's this weirdness. Obviously, if I lived in like a state far away, I would just not worry about showing up. But I'm in this other place.
As you're saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, I do feel like Mother's Day and Father's Day comes like I am thinking about it to some extent, but then not in like my parents or my husband's parents sometimes. And I even right now I'm like, I know my mom loves dresses. I should get on and find a dress that I can send her way for Mother's Day because she always appreciates that. And I've actually helped her shop for dresses from time to time. Her eyesight is diminishing. And so she has been grateful when other people will help her with things like that. So I have kind of an idea of what kind of dresses she likes and whatever. So I'm thinking I need to be getting on the gifts right now too. It would be helpful for me to be mindful of that so that I can be prepared. And then my mother-in-law trying to figure out what I would like to give her. And a lot of times I ask my husband, like, what do you think your mom would like? Or what do you want to give your mom or your dad? I do like to get input from him. Sometimes he sees it differently than I do as I offer things or as he suggests things. I'm like, oh, I would have never thought of that. So it is fun to get input from him too for his parents and for my mom.
Yep. And the way I'm talking about this sounds like a lot of forethought and being intentional. Let me share how it goes. Mother's Day comes again. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Mother's Day. I didn't do anything for my mom or my mother-in-law. What do I want to do next year? So, and that sounds like maybe a little more stressful. Sometimes it's just like, oh my word, I keep thinking that I want to do something. And then it's here. And so I'm doing a lot more thinking like right on the day or right after the day.
Yes.
Or a little bit after the day.
Yes.
In fact, I'm thrilled that we're recording this beforehand because I think we had an epiphany that we're like, I don't know that we've ever recorded anything about Mother's Day for whatever reason. And it's fine. But figuring out, maybe it's a little like Easter, except that it doesn't move around. Maybe it's a little bit about giving myself some sort of little tickler or reminder to think about it a little sooner.
Totally. And I love that idea. I mean, you mentioned that with Easter, like around New Year's Day at one of our last episodes around You were mentioning that. Like, yeah, why that could be fun to go in 2 weeks before every holiday or a month before every holiday and just put a little alert that recurs every year. Like, hey,
Yep.
what are you thinking about? What do you want to do about Mother's Day? What do you want to do about Father's Day or whatever,
Yep.
birthdays, whatever it is. Yeah, that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
One other thought I had is with Mother's Day and with like meals or desserts, because we like to do meals and desserts at my house.
Mhm.
And one of my thoughts too is there have been times where I have suggested a meal for my birthday or Mother's Day, and it has felt a little bit time intensive. And so part of me is like, oh, I don't know if I even suggest that or whatever. Or the what if nobody wants to make that? What if they're like, no, we
Right.
don't want to? There's still the option of I could actually prep it the night before. If I want the day of to feel like less work, I
Right.
could prep stuff for the Sunday or the birthday so that I can have what I'm hoping for and it doesn't put anyone else out. Or
Yep.
even the day of, like maybe I want to help jump in, or I'm going to spearhead making something. I can invite people to help me. And if they want to, great. And if not, I'm going to make sure I'm in a clean place where
Yep.
I will be fine if they say, no, I'd rather not.
Right.
But I just like the idea of thinking ahead of time if I care enough about a
Right.
particular meal or a dessert that
Right.
I could do the work and then just enjoy the day when it's here.
Yeah. With that, I was thinking, again, this opens up some options. So sometimes for my birthday, I will think, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this and this would be fun. And I'm like, I cannot do all of that on my birthday. And so even this last year, I tried to open up my birthday stuff for some of these things to happen during the month. I wanted to have some friends over for games, but honestly, I didn't want to do that on my birthday. My birthday was a Sunday. People would be with their families, and I would like to be with just my little family. And then I wanted to do something just with my husband. But then I also want to be there with my kids. So I broke it up into pieces, a little bit like you said with Christmas, where you're like, it just extended the Christmas. So with Mother's Day or something like that, I could even see if it's like, hey, what if on the first Sunday this year, we're going to make this meal and we're all going to work together or whatever. I'm going to make it because I really want to have it. Because I'm realizing I really just want Mother's Day to be an easy day. Okay, great. I think there are so many options that sometimes we get in our minds. Things have to be done this way, and this is the only way to do it. And even with the visiting that I mentioned, well, why can't I say, okay, I'm going to sometime in the month of May, I want to make it a priority to talk to my mom on the phone or go visit my mom or go visit my mother-in-law or whatever. I can also not expand it in a way that stresses me out. Not so that I now am a stress case, but if it feels, like you say, if it feels good and it feels like, okay, this adds to the season of celebrating mothers, then I can come up with all kinds of options.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. We have also in our household, not on purpose, but it has seemed like at times when there's a birthday, it ends up spanning the week. And
Okay.
so my husband will tease about, yeah, we celebrate birth weeks at our house. It's not just a birthday. And so it does make me think about that, where you knew you wanted to have friends come over. Anyway, you said about maybe spreading out over the month. It also could be over a couple days or the week. It
Yep.
could be a Sunday family thing. And then on Monday night, we're going to have a few friends come over, family friends maybe, and do something that day. And then Wednesday's the actual birthday and we're going to do whatever. I think there are ways that if we are opening up to options,
Yep.
I think we can find ways to make it fun and celebratory if we want to. So
And
anyway, love it.
loving that every year doesn't have to be the same.
Yeah.
I love, like, there are traditions that are super fun and that we can love. And then also sometimes that makes something heavier. So with all of these things, it's about exploring what works for each of us within the context of our family and the important people in our lives.
Yeah.
Because even like on a Mother's Day, as you were talking about, like, oh, we might go up on Saturday and I might do this the Sunday before with that daughter. And maybe we'll do this Saturday, but then maybe on Sunday we'll do this. I love that it doesn't all have to be crammed into on this day.
Yeah. Yep.
We have to do all the things that anyone could possibly want. Think of ourselves,
Totally.
think of other people. No.
Yeah, totally. Well, and it makes me think a little bit more about like a girls' trip. With this funeral that's happening on Saturday, I have wondered, will all of my sisters be around? Like, would they want to meet up? Anyway, and so kind of trying to make it a girls' trip so that we're all maybe there, spend a little bit of time together, and then, of course, seeing the rest of our family. But But that does also make me think that could be a fun thing to have on the radar for May. It's Mother's Day. Is sometime in May, would it be fun to schedule a girls' trip? That could happen in May or some other time. But
Right.
May's kind of the tickler for let's
Right.
plan some girls' trip. It could be fun
Yep.
to do that. So even that just came up. I love it.
Okay, so I'm loving this too because when you've got a lot of kids in school, Maycember is a thing. May
Yes.
gets crazy. But how fun if on a yearly basis, a little Mother's Day gift you give yourself to celebrate that, I'm a mom and I've enjoyed being a mom and this is good. And something I'm going to celebrate with is using it as an idea, a reminder to reach out to my friends and say, let's go have some renewal
Yeah.
together and have this fun. Not necessarily in May, but let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I love
Plan it.
that
Let's at
idea.
least be talking about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That is super fun.
Also, in our family culture, we do talk about gifts, about what people would maybe like for a birthday or a holiday. And so that's also not uncommon for me to be asking. And so then for myself, for Mother's Day, there have been times where even if people haven't asked. So this
Right.
is how sometimes it goes this to this extent. Amy.
Right.
Sometimes people will ask, what do you want for Mother's Day or for
Right.
your birthday? But sometimes I also say, hey, I think it would be really fun to get la 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 to my husband and usually my kids are asking. So it would actually be more of my husband. And he asks too. He absolutely asks too.
I
But
just
if I
loved how you said that and then corrected. It was a little funny, like, it's my kids who are asking. And then you're like,
No,
wait a minute. That's
it's
not quite
everyone.
how I
Everyone
meant that.
asks.
Right. Yeah.
It really is our family culture at this
Right.
point. But
Yes.
if they didn't ask, I could still suggest to them, hey, I would really like a new phone case. I would really like a new dress. Whatever. And there have been times where I've totally done that. And then also even one year, and this was probably like 10ish years ago, I told my husband, there is something I totally want for Mother's Day. And I'm going to buy it for myself. I'm going to order it and I will give it to you and you can give it to me for Mother's Day. Okay. And even that I think is totally fine. Like I have created that, or my family, however it's come about, we have created that in our family. And so I appreciate that also. I know growing up, as I was maybe high school and young adult and older, my mom would even have a spot on our whiteboard. We had a whiteboard in our kitchen, and one part of it would be her list of wants or wishes. And so if somebody was wanting to get her a gift, they could go to the list and know, oh, mom is interested in this. And I've heard of people using their Amazon wish list or something online that they could also share. So I just like that idea also, if it feels appealing, that you can suggest things, you can have a list if you want, you could buy your own thing and say, this is for me for Christmas or for Mother's Day or whatever. I think all of that can be fine. If it isn't fine, it's because of the way we're thinking about it. Like, I shouldn't buy my own gift. Well, why not? How are they going to know if we don't tell them that this is what we want? Or even pick the perfect color or whatever. Well, if we want it, then we could actually suggest it or order it ourselves. Right. Anyway, so I do feel like that can be a great thing because that is in our control, rather than waiting and hoping you're dropping enough hints for them to get the thing that you want. Right. So that's the one other thing I wanted to add. Do you have thoughts about gifts?
Yeah. I think with gifts too, some of it, like you kind of said, is exploring what you think about gifts. Because for some people, they're like, it doesn't feel like a gift if I bought it myself. Okay, that's fine. Now you know that.
Yeah.
And so I love the idea that your mom had the list, the ongoing list, because it kind of communicates in a softer way, especially if it's in the family culture. Hey, I'm going to have this list so that you guys can go and look there if you have a desire to do it. Yeah. So that's a fantastic idea if someone doesn't want to buy themselves a gift. I also think one thing a person can do if that's where they are with gifts, but it's like, okay, I actually do want this thing and it's kind of needs to be the gift item because it's not something we'd usually buy or whatever. But I want it to be special. You can create other special ways. So this thing that you asked your husband for or told him, I'm buying this, you could have said, and it would feel special to me if on Mother's Day, we actually make use of it on that day. Like a fun little, like, let's use it. And it depends on what it is. But let's say I want a game and I'm like, I'm just going to go buy it so I get the right one because there's different versions. But you know what would be fun is if we could play it on Mother's Day. So I think there's other ways too to even create that special feeling. If for whatever reason you discover in yourself that you're like, I want something else special about it. Because if I'm just going to buy it, then it doesn't feel like a gift, right? So I love that idea of processing through what does it mean for me? What am I thinking about it? How do I want to address this? And also be okay if like maybe you like surprises, But then
Yeah.
you can work on, okay, do I want to be grumpy when they don't get me the exact thing I wanted and surprise me with it? No. So how can I work with the surprise factor that I like?
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. And I guess I would just say my husband and I have had conversations because I do like surprises. And I realized at some point that I'm like, sometimes I like to have the surprise that then also allows me anticipation. So if he were to walk in the door right now and be like, surprise, I'm going to take you away for the weekend, I'd be like, no. Do you think I don't have anything to do? What am I supposed to now do about the fact that my parents are coming and I wanted to go see my son's performance? Like those are real things happening this weekend. That actually would feel not good to me.
Yeah.
It would feel kind of frustrating and maybe like not very respectful of the fact I have other things on the docket and that we're here recording. And so what he did for my birthday this year is he left me a note like maybe a week in advance and it was to go out of town with him. And it said, let's go do this together. And so I had time. He also kind of knew about what I had going on, or I could say to him, hey, that's not going to work. I've got the stuff going on. But I don't know. It was kind of a fun thing because I got the surprise and I got the anticipation. But I haven't always known that.
Yeah.
And so there was no way for him to know that. So I had to learn it.
Well, and fun to be noticing. You're
Yep.
being conscious enough to be noticing, oh, I actually do like surprises. And I actually like the anticipation, right? But it takes trial and error over the
Yeah.
years. I have a daughter who also loves surprises. And numerous years, she has said, I just want a surprise. I just want a
Yep.
surprise for Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, whatever. And usually she really is happy with whatever she gets. So it is fun to give her surprises.
Yep.
Because she's just thrilled. And this last time I gave her a gift, for Easter, and I had given it to her, and she had said, "Oh, good! I was so glad. I'm so glad. I was hoping this is what you'd give me." But really, she had already told me, "I just want a surprise."
Right.
And so then it was fun that it was like doubly. It was perfect for like
Right.
what she wanted, and it was the surprise also. So
Yep.
super fun.
Yeah.
All the different ways of
Yep.
learning about people and navigating it.
Yeah. And one other thing about surprises, I've also learned about myself that surprises that are like out of the blue are generally fun. Like, oh, here's a surprise gift. Here's some surprise flowers. Here's like whatever. But for whatever reason, when there's an event like a Mother's Day or a birthday, and maybe we have traditions surrounding that, it's a little harder to be like, okay, just surprise me. Because somehow I've been having anticipation and been thinking about it. So knowing those things about myself helps me then to like make a list. Like your mom had the list, and then I can tell people, here's a list in case you're planning to get me something. Then it kind of helps with all those things. So
Yeah.
fun things to learn
Yeah.
about.
And I think it's never too late and it's never too early, right? Like if
Exactly.
you want to do shift your family culture, even if you're an empty nester, you could totally shift your
Yep.
family culture into, I think it'd be fun to do gifts. This is how you can start anything at any point. Young kids,
Yep.
like grade school kids, out of the house, whatever. I think you can still start different traditions or a different culture if you want.
Yeah. And I almost think you need to, because I think when your kids are all around you all the time, sometimes you can just be like, yep, I'm going to get them this and them this and them this. And I know them well enough, whatever. And then they move out or they're your grandkids and you're all, I don't really know. Like what's going to actually not just give, I've seen this situation, like give more stuff for them to have in their house, which they don't want, but still sends the message, I love them, but all that stuff. So, yep, it's good. Just whatever phase of life you're in, it's okay to try some new stuff
Absolutely.
and discover. Well, I am thrilled that we talked about Mother's Day today because I think sometimes we talk about it after the fact, but I don't know that we talk a lot about it leading up to it usually, even the two of us when we're chatting. But this has been fun and I've got some different things to think on.
I totally agree. And hopefully our listeners have too.
That's right. So wherever you are, this is one of those times that we want to say when it comes, Happy Mother's Day. We hope it goes well.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming to Meeting of the Moms. We hope it made your load a little lighter. We'd love to hear what's on your mind. Send your celebrations, takeaways, and suggestions for future topics to momswithamyandlorna@gmail.com.
If you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. If this isn't the right fit for you, we wish you well on your journey. Until next time, I'm Lorna Adams.
And I'm Amy Rasmussen. See you next week at Moms.